Добрый день всем.
Good day, everyone. My name is Anzhela. I'm 28 years old. I come from Ukraine. I've lived in different cities. I've been running for 5 years. I love sport, I love people, I love life. I'm a graduated chemical engineer. I've worked on my goals for a very long time. After the 24th date, I started to live each day as a new one. I appreciate every small thing that happens in my life. I appreciate every new day. I have experienced feelings of anger, hate, and fear. When I left Ukraine, I started to live day by day. I had no plan whatsoever. I'm used to setting goals for myself, to outline my life. I always had a plan for a year or two ahead. Now I live day by day. You don't know what will happen tomorrow. Will you have a job or not? Will you have the possibility to run or not? The possibilities for tomorrow are uncertain. You are happy for the given day. You live day by day. You try to see the best in everything. You appreciate the given situation. It's a totally different approach than before. When you are used living according to a plan, you are constantly running. You don't have stopping moments. You don't look behind. You know that today you have to study English, and tomorrow you have to go to the gym. I have to help the girls in my class, and so on. And now you reach a blockage, and you can't move. Where do I go? Where do I move? Language? No, I don't know this new language. Work? No, I can't work within my profession if I don't know the language. Some documents that you can't figure out because they are written in a different language. You can't move forward. I receive a lot of help from the runners that I have met, because the first goal that I set for myself here in the Netherlands was to run half a marathon. This was my first goal. So last week I was very excited because I just simply had a goal. That was heavy. And when people make suggestions for you to run in September, and you're like, but wait, we'd first have to make it to September. What do you mean September? Maybe I won't be here anymore. What if something happens? And you start to dig and dig and dig. What do you mean September? I only have tomorrow. I was afraid to set goals for myself. It is extremely hard. When the whole course of your life has been an outlined plan, there were ideas, there were goals, you don't have them anymore. Your world turned upside down and everything changed. On the 21st at 6 in the morning, I received a call from my friends. They were saying that the war has started. I couldn't believe this. I was pacing around in my apartment and I kept repeating, I have to go to work, I have to go to work. My friends came to me and told me, get your stuff, we are leaving. So I left Kyiv with them to stay in a private sector. There were 10 of us, 9 grown-ups and 1 child. We hid in a basement. I remember that the basement was very humid and it had a bad smell. You breathe all of this air in. The child is shivering because it's cold. She is scared. And when the sirens stopped, we came out of the basement. And a child was like, I'm not going back in there. There is no Wi-Fi in the basement. How do you explain to a child that there is a war going on? In one hand you have Wi-Fi, and the other hand your life. You don't know how to explain this to a child correctly. She looks at you with shining eyes and she says, "I'm not going back in there. There is no Wi-Fi there. I can't watch my favorite cartoon." I was scared. When the war had started, I was very scared. I was afraid something would land on our house. I was afraid that something could happen. I was afraid they were near Kyiv. I was afraid that they would come into my house. And when the curfew was announced and it was forbidden to walk in the streets, every sound made you shudder. When there was silence, it was even worse. It brought more fear. You understand that silence sounds even worse than the sound of bombing. When I heard that they captured the city Irpin, this is very close to Boyarka. When the evacuation of Irpin started and the people came to Boyarka and Belogorodka to Boyarka, I understood that I couldn't take it anymore. It was then that I heard disturbing stories about girls that are being raped, killed, and harassed. I couldn't stay there. I grabbed my suitcase and left. This was a very difficult decision because every day you are afraid to leave. Because what if something happens on your way to the station? Maybe something will blow up. Maybe something goes wrong. Every day I understood that my fear was growing. And every day I wanted to do less and less. I haven't lived for a month. I didn't move. I didn't work out. I didn't love. I just watched and read the news constantly. I could not engage in sport. I could not make myself go outside and run 100 meters. This was hurting me. It was unbearable. You are unable to move. Unable because you are afraid. You are afraid to take a step. You can't breathe. It's killing you. The only thing that helped me in this situation was that there was a child living with us. This child wanted to play, to live and eat. And you could play cards with or domino. A child that constantly asked things that were not related to the war, because she didn't care about the war. She didn't watch the news and didn't talk about where the bombs went off. She didn't talk about the tanks, those damn tanks. It became worse with every day. The sirens were no longer going off for an hour, but for 6 or 7 hours. The sirens didn't let me breathe. You remain in one room from the morning and you don't want to move because you are afraid. When I sensed that it smelled like something was burning, and when the Russians were like, "Look, we are not going to hurt the civilians, everything is okay." When they started to destroy houses, schools, child cares, when you read that they were raping children, you think to yourself, This can't be happening. These are rumors. We live in the 21st century. You can't imagine that these things are really happening. And when all these things are confirmed, you just go, what the fuck? The 21st century, and this is what you do? These are animals. They are not humans. I think death is less scary than the harassment. When you can't do anything, and your close ones can't do anything, and you are hurting. I am exposed to this fear because when I was 13, I was being harassed by a pedophile. When you are a child, you don't understand that this is a problem. You are little and fragile. You understand you can't do anything, and the world loses its meaning. You destruct, and you can't live. It hurts to realize this. My life had changed after this. And when I heard that the war had started and children are being harassed, I re-experienced my trauma. There was a period I couldn't breathe. And when you can't breathe, you don't know what to do, who to go to. This hurts very much to realize that you are helpless, even if you are a grown-up and let your actions speak for themselves, but you can't speak on behalf of other people's actions. You have to fight for your own life. I choose to live, I choose to leave, because this is dangerous for me. I couldn't bear to live like that. I already went through this. At least I thought so, but apparently not. All of this came back again. It is hurting. It's hurting your self-image. You think you are not allowed to be beautiful, you are not allowed to be wanted. You blame yourself in this situation. But in fact, it's not your fault. The world is just like this, and some people are just like this. These are people with defects and not you. I think this should not be happening with children, with men or women. We live in the 21st century, and you need to understand that you are important. And when you become a victim of rape, mental abuse, you need to understand that you can't stay silent. You have to say that you are human, you have to feel. I understand that after going through this kind of abuse, you go quiet and you are scared to tell someone. You're afraid that you are different. You are afraid to live further and you don't want to look the truth in the eyes. But this happened, and you have to process this. I think you have to process this with a professional. Everyone should live with pleasure and not fear anything. Don't fear to live, You have to live with pleasure and comfort. I think girls and boys are victims of abuse because they are fragile and helpless. But they have parents who need to listen to them and support them. I'm very thankful for my parents, that they have always supported me and loved me, and gave me the possibility to live and continue to love myself, to be myself and enjoy living. I really want to say to all the children that are victims of abuse that you are not alone. There are a lot of support groups. I want you all to process this and not remain stuck in that situation. I have been stuck in this situation for a long time in my life. I know that it's hard and you want to mute everything. With alcohol, smoking and drugs. But you need to live through this moment and let go. Let it go and live for yourself instead of running from problems. During the war, this became more important. People talked about this more often. We need support. We need help to stand up for ourselves and not stay quiet. We demand to be heard. We demand to be seen, heard and felt, so we could live life like normal people. I'm hurting because my friends are still in Ukraine. I'm very worried. I worry for my mother when I can't reach her. You understand that seconds matter. This is war. People die every day. There are these amazing guys that are fighting for our safety. We are all human. We want to live, love, and we don't want our close ones to experience pain and hate and fear. What will you do when you hear on the news that the war is over? I will go to my mother. I will stay with my family, with my grandma, my uncle. I want to go to my family. I am tired. I don't want my family to be far away. I want to know that they are safe. I don't want to think that they are not picking up the phone because a bomb has dropped. I want to know that everything is okay with them and not be afraid of the next day.
Всё. Я не могу больше. Фух.